I'd like to welcome on the stage with us our own, in fact, uh, he just joined, he joined the Goethe Institute as its new director a few weeks ago. So this for him, I imagine, is quite an experience also. And so if it is your first time coming to Pagya, don't be feeling left out. Our own landlord is also experiencing it for the first time. So so I'd like to invite to the stage Maximilian Rotker. Am I saying it right? Yeah.
Hello. Oh wow, can barely see anyone from the light. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for introducing me. My name is Maximilian Röttger. As yet, I'm Heike Friesel's successor as the director of the Goethe Institute. And ladies and gentlemen, good evening and a warm welcome to this year's Pagya Festival. It is our great pleasure to be again, for the 8th time now in a row, the co-host of this edition of the Pagya Festival. I would like to start my opening notes by welcoming the organizers of the festival, the Writers Project of Ghana. Of course, it is also my honor to welcome the esteemed partners, colleagues, representatives from various embassies, dear Ambassador Razali, and of course also all volunteers, literature lovers, and most importantly, of course, the writers and spoken word artists who make this festival the vibrant celebration of literary art that it is. I would like to express my admiration for the passion and the dedication with which the Writers Project of Ghana organized this festival for so many years. The commitment demonstrates in a positive way the profound impact that the written and spoken word can have on people. It is the love and fascination for literary arts that drive individuals to put in the tremendous effort to realize such an event. We all know, however, that words, narratives, and the skillful use of language can also mislead us. Sometimes they divide us. It is therefore even more important to celebrate an art that has, in fact, the ability to connect, comfort, and bring insight. For the coming days, I therefore wish for us that the literary arts that at Pagya will give us, above all, inspiration. Inspiration to discover new perspectives, to develop empathy, understanding, and to inspiration to ask new questions and to expand our own concept of aesthetics. As mentioned before, this is my first time at Pagya Festival, and therefore I'm particularly excited to experience the various events and engage with a diverse range of writers coming from all over. I look forward not only to their works, but also to getting to know the people behind them. I would like to thank you all for making your way to the Goethe Institute today and throughout this weekend. My gratitude goes to the Writers Project of Ghana and all the volunteers for their tirelessly effort. I also thank my team at the Goethe Institute, particularly Elizabeth Johnson, who has been working day and night in the implementation of this event. I also extend my thanks to the Pagya partner for supporting this festival and thereby contributing not only to intercultural exchange and understanding, but also to the continuation of a cornerstone of the Ghanaian cultural scene. Lastly, I want to thank all present writers, artists, and visitors. You are the reason why this is all happening. I wish you all inspiring days, controversial discussion, stimulating conversations, and new connections, and of course, much joy and fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Max. At this point, before we go any further, I'd like to recognize the presence of His Excellency, the Ambassador of Ireland, who is just with us. His Excellency Peter Ryan is in the front here with us. On that same row, I see our own Manu Hepstein. He's also with us here. And for those who don't know why I'm mentioning Manu, I mean, there are a host of writers here, Vamba Sheriff, Kondiswa, our dear friend from Brazil with us. There are so many people here, you know. So I'm mentioning him because he's been with us from the very beginning. From the very, very beginning, helping Writers Project take shape, helping Pagya take shape. So please give it up for him. We are also joined by the General Secretary of the Ghana Association of Writers, Michael Kelly. Most of the names are coming from my head. I only look on the sheet here to make appearances, so please pardon me. So thank you so much for joining us, Gao. So I'd like to invite to give a welcome and opening statement, Atu Anand, if he's here. Atu, from the Foundation for Contemporary Arts, Ghana. We call each other Gen Z, so we are both not Gen Z, but yeah.
I think I've been tricked into something else. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is just a short message from the Foundation for Contemporary Art. We are partners on the project. It's in art, we would like to say we are the offside. And so don't get stuck here. Please explore and get to the other side of town around the American Embassy at the Du Bois Center. We share in the love of literature. As artists, we found ourselves at various times borrowing from literature. And so we've had exhibitions that have taken from writers such as Amate Edu, Aranda Tiroy, and a few other ones. And we are happy to be with you and to share our space with you as part of this year's Pagya. So please, like I said, if you want a chill out, our space provides that. I'm not shading anyone. It's a Gen Z term. But please do come to our site and enjoy the programs there as well. So thank you all and enjoy tonight as well.
Gen Z. Thank you, Atu. Who else do I see? I see a lot of people. Dr. Kote is here. Dr. Kote is here. And I mentioned Dr. Kote because each year we've tried as a festival to incorporate language into the festival. So we try to go across borders, and each year we are joined by our brothers from Togo. Is Patron here? Patron? Not yet, yes. So we are joined each year by our brothers from Togo to bring that component. We know the continent is filled with different languages, and Dr. Kote is here for Ghana, from Ghana. So it's a very important factor for us. At this point, I'd like us to, with a round of applause, welcome on stage His Excellency, the EU Ambassador to the Republic of Ghana, Echad Rosali. I was beginning to wonder if you brought a speech.
Good evening, everyone. For the ones who've been at my place yesterday, don't worry, I will not say the same. Don't worry, I've done a bit of homework. I will not bore you on how big the European Union is on the field of art and culture in Ghana. I will not bore you on how big the European is on the field of creative industries in Ghana. I will not bore you with how supportive we are to this festival and how we believe in the force of art, culture, and literature to create bonds and brotherhood beyond countries, borders, and continents. Instead, I would like to, in a way, pay tribute to the audience. Watch the space, you will not see this every day. I have to, In the heart of Ghana, where cultures entwine, we come together to share tales that are yours and mine. You get the idea? Get the idea? As Amato Ataidu wisely declares, and I quote, "We are victims of our history and our present," end of quote, reminding us that stories shape our cares. Literature matters. It opens our minds, inviting us to see the ties that bind. It fosters empathy, bridging the divide, encouraging us to walk in another's stride. Through novels and poems, we learn to reflect, understanding our world with greater respect. Wole Soyinka reminds us with grace, and I quote, "The man dies in all who keep silent," urging us to find our voice in this space. Literature preserves our rich heritage, connecting us deeply, page after page. It sparks creativity and ignites critical thought, challenging conventions with the ideas we've sought. In a world often tumultuous, it offers reprieve, transporting us to realms where we can believe. So let us embrace this journey we share in the magic of stories that linger in air. Together we gather, where dreams will thrive in this sanctuary of words. We come alive. Thank you for joining this literary quest. May our hearts be inspired and join the fest. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Yeah, something is coming. He's preluding.
And I will sing of your love and kindness and everything you've done for me. Oh God, how great thou art. I will sing every day to praise you, Lord. I will sing joyful songs from
Thank
my
you.
heart to praise you.
They say you don't stop good music, but we will stop it briefly and then we will come back to it, because before we begin this evening's headline event, for those who don't know, each year at Pagya we have a headline event and then we have a tail line event. I'm not sure tail line is a proper word, but we call it tail line. And we've had it for 7 years and nobody complained, so it's okay. This year's headline event is titled Creative Arts and Practice in Ghana, and it's a conversation between David Donto and Desmond Ababio, and it's going to be moderated by our own Elizabeth Johnson. So that That is going to come up after we round up this. But there's something that follows that. And so don't think after that conversation you have to go home, because you can't miss it. It's a dramatized reading for nearly all the men in Accra are mad. And at the same time, and we are reputed for doing this, we have, I don't know even what to call it. It's a lecture, is it, I don't know, a treatise, you name it, but it's festivals, the past of the present. And it's going to be delivered by Professor Toyin Falola, who is right at the back with us. So please don't take leave of us after the conversation. And these two, I don't know how you're going to split yourselves, but you will manage. We've managed for 7 years, you will manage tonight. So I don't expect any less. And so without talking, you know, I will not make this about myself. Can we enjoy a little bit of music and taste from Desmond Ababiu, and then we'll come back and then start the conversation.
I will sing joyful songs to praise you, Lord. I will sing joyful songs from my heart to praise you. And I will sing of your love and kindness and everything you've done for me. Oh God, how great thou art. I will sing every day to praise you, Lord. I will sing joyful songs from my heart to praise you. And I will sing of your love and kindness and everything you've done for me. Oh God, how great thou art. Mala machoyi, yeye mosaboye. Mala machoyi, yeye mosaboye. Mala machoyi na, yeye mosaboye. Mala machoyi, yeye mosaboye. Mala hallelujah, mala hallelujah, mala hallelujah, mala machoyi. Mala hallelujah, mala hallelujah, mala hallelujah, I will speak of your glory, oh Lord. I will speak of your glorious honor and majesty. And I will speak of your wonderful works and the greatness of thy power. Oh God, how great thou art. I will speak of your glory, oh Lord. I will speak of your glorious honor and majesty. And I will speak of your wonderful works and the greatness of thy power. Oh God, how great thou art.
Chosemo, ya fe no, chosemo, ya ye fe, chosemo, ya yes ya fe sia, chosemo, ya ye man fe man, chosemo, ya fe no, chosemo, ya ye fe. Tutu chosemo, ya ye sia fe sia. Tutu chosemo, ya ye ma fe ma. Tutu chosemo, follow it yo sisimla. Ahi oboke sumo di klen klen mla. Ahi obo fale ni o hifon o wala befia. Tutu chosemo, bele o afio, ngamli aton, ke mwa ke hi obo, ni o da ni o ton pomo. Tutu chosemo, mene ya fe no fe no. Tutu chosemo, ya ye fe. Tutu chosemo, ya ye sia fe sia. Tutu chosemo, ya ye ma fe ma. Tutu chosemo, follow na hidika. Akan boko ton, nyachio oyigo fe papa. Aha oli omla, akan to ebo hifia foundation. Tutu chosemo, here amia, musung amia, faisi adwa, koni oba wala papa. Tutu chosemo, mene ya fe no fe no. Tutu chosemo, ya ye fe. Tutu chosemo, ya ye sia fe sia. Tutu chosemo, ya ye ma fe ma. Tutu chosemo, jaje mo ke kudomo. Atombo hesiba ke anokwale yuemo. Atombo enoyeli sisime ke twinamo. Tutu chosemo, atombo nyongo, atombo bomo, atombo nichimo, koni o ka fe hejon. Tutu chosemo, mene ya fe no fe no. Tutu chosemo, ya ye fe. Tutu chosemo, ya ye sia fe sia. Tutu chosemo, ya ye ma fe ma.
Thank you very much for the lovely tune. Thank you. Oh, you want to give us one more? Okay.
Erazi, yebe kamfu. Erazi, yebe makusu. Erazi, yebe yiwaye. Abozi nina bekawasi. Erazi, yebe kamfu. Erazi, yebe makusu. Erazi, yebe yiwaye. Abozi nina bekawasi. Wamaye shira, wamaye ikwa, wamaye enige, wamaye bibiara. Hallelujah, yebe kamfu. Hallelujah, yebe mauso. Hallelujah, yebe iwaye. Abozi nina bekawase. Wamaye shira, wamaye enige, wamaye ikwa, wamaye bibia. Hallelujah, yebe kamfu. Hallelujah, yebe mauso. Hallelujah, yebe iwaye. Abozi nina bekawase. Hallelujah, Jebe Kanfo. Hallelujah, Jebe Mauso. Hallelujah, Jebe Iwaye. Abosi Nida Beta Wase. Wame Shira, Wame Ikwa, Wame Enike, Wame Bibia. Wabaje oyi, Jeko jife baje oyi. Yesue, wabaje oyi, Yesue, wabada boshe. Yesue, wabaje oyi, Jeko jife baje oyi. Oha wala.
Lovely, very lovely. As our guest gets mic'd, we will get ready to welcome
Hallelujah, wabaje oyi. Hallelujah, wabadabushi. Hallelujah, wabaje oyi. Jeko jife baji. Jeko jife baji. Jeko jife baji.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you all very much. We'd like to get on with our conversation tonight. I hope you all enjoyed the music I did. And I had my little companion, but I was afraid that when I start talking, she will also speak into the mic. So I've deposited her at the back. This evening's conversation, as I mentioned earlier, is between David Donto and Desmond Ababio. So I will just give you an idea. I know we all know, well, this is a fallacy, so let me stop right there. We all don't know. But a lot of us know, you know, what these two greats have done for music and art in Ghana, across the world. And we are very grateful that they are able to join us and grace us this evening. I'll start with David Donto. I mean, how do I begin? He's a veteran actor. This must be the opening line of almost every bio that is written about you. But he's also known for starring in so many movies. I'm not going to go through them. But the most recent, I think, is Coming to Africa in 2020. And if you haven't seen it, please go and watch it. He's also best known for his role as Ghana Man in the popular local comedy drama series Obra. And David, when Obra was playing, I was a small boy, you know, so I won't speak about Obra, but I know Obra, you know. That's all I remember, but I know you were in it. And this is fantastic. It's something of our time. So aside from acting and hosting TV programs, he's also a script writer, a playwright, he's a poet. And you know, I didn't know that because I'm a poet too, but I didn't know. I thought that you were only on the screen and doing that. But you are currently the chairman of the Ghana National Film Authority. And please, yes, I heard the... We are very honored to have you, David. So if you please join me on the stage here. Please, let's clap for David Duncan. Our next guest played with the E.T. Mensah, and the Temples Band. Yeah. That's how legendary Desmond Ababiu is, not was. So we are celebrating him while he is with us. He has performed around the world. And so I'm not going to go through his bio with you. There's a reason why we put the bios online, so that you can read it and know it. So I will not go through it. But he's played with so many people. He's currently the president of the Association of Ghana Music Legends. He's also the director of the Clocksack Music Band. And for those who don't know what CLOCSAG is the Civil and Local Government Services Association of Ghana. It's a big group. So he is the director of the music band there. So please, let's welcome on stage Desmond Ababiu.
Ghana, we now have freedom. Ghana, land of freedom. Toils of the brave and the sweat of their labor. Toils of the brave which have brought results. Star of Ghana, Nkrumah, Star of Ghana, everybody toils of the brave and the sweat of their labors, toils of the brave which are brought.
Thank you, Desmond Ababiu, for joining us tonight. A reminder that our conversation tonight is creative arts and practice in Ghana. And this conversation is going to be moderated. Which mic am I using now? It's going to be moderated by Elizabeth Johnson from the Writers Project of Ghana and the Goethe Institute. I promise you this is the last you're going to see of me. Thank you, Liz. Take it over.
Thank you, Nana. Good evening, everyone. I must say it is a lot to take in to be sitting with legends, and so I need a moment. Yeah. I am very privileged to be moderating this session, and I'm looking forward to an amazing conversation with David Donto and Desmond Ababiu, who happen to know each other. And so when we were putting this program together, we were thinking, who should we bring on? And these two names came up, and while in conversation with them, it just so happened that he said, "Oh, I know him. Ask him. Ask him. I know him." And so I'm really sure this is going to be an amazing conversation. Maybe I'll take it from the very beginning. I know that these are two legends. I think I'll be saying that word a lot, and so forgive me, who have done a lot of interviews and have had a lot of articles written on them, and so we, or most of us, do know a little about their background. And so I think that I would do a little twist here to put them on the spot in the beginning and ask, when did you both meet each other? I think that the conversation would have a lovely start from there. Maybe when did you start know that, oh, this is David, he's an actor, this is Desmond, he's into music. I'd like to start with you, Mr. David Donso. So you are using, if you just speak, we'll hear you.
Oh, yes. Okay, thank you very much. First of all, let me say I'm so happy to be part of this. This is the very first time, even though it's been happening for 8 years this year. This is my first time of being part of it, even though I come here for other things, other programs, mostly on film and things like that. First of all, I'm happy that you use the term or the word Pagya. Pagya is one of the Adinkra symbols. I would love you to use the symbol itself as well, because Pagya, as one of the Adinkra symbols, is lighter. It's lighter. So if you say igniting, blah, 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 then it means you actually know exactly why you chose the word Pagya. I have had a very interesting thoughts in my mind as to how I found myself here. At school, I actually did science, chemistry, physics, biology, maths in sixth form. But before I got to sixth form, at Form 4, those days when we had the O level and the A level, when you are going to Form 4, then you choose to either do science or do arts. And when I was going to do science, my English teacher, and my English teacher happened to be, at that time, one Mr. Peter Lavelle, an Irishman, who was, said he was an ex-serviceman. And he used to say that the man who wrote the Oxford Learner's Dictionary, is it Abbott, or he has some name, was his classmate. That when, that time that they were mates, he was a better English student than him. I said, oh, really? I said, yes. But then, when we finished our O-level, I happened to come out as the best English student in Ghana at that time, 1975. And Mr. Lavelle kept saying that, David, why did you choose to go and do science? You should have done the arts, because it's like, that is where you seem to belong. But that time I was just dying to go and do medicine, so I couldn't bother myself about it. But the long and short of it was that he was the one who actually drove me into liking language. I will not even say English language, but language. Because that man was an authority. He would come to class with just a piece of chalk. And he was taking literature from Form 4, Form 5, lower 6, upper 6. And it doesn't come with anything. And he was taking all the books. Sheridan, Shakespeare, this, that, and any class he goes, ask him any question, and he will answer. He will even give you quotes. I said, wow, this man, how does he learn those things? So I felt, no, I think this man must have done something to language, such that he can, know all the books, everything in those books, be able to quote from all those books, say, the language, the way he felt and everything. Those they were using P.S. Trejo and Ogundepe, a practical English. You will come to class, and then at the end of each chapter, there are questions. I think 10 questions that you have to answer. as exercises. Number 7, number 3, number 5, they are wrong questions. Don't answer them. That's what he would say. So I felt so, curious about this man, and that is what made me fall in love with English as a language, because English is a very, very developed language, and it's also a language that perhaps borrows from almost everywhere around the world. And when I left school, and I couldn't qualify to go to medical school, so I couldn't go to do my medicine. But my father had a lot of books in the house, so I kept reading books, all kinds of books. I remember, age 10, 11, I was reading Socrates, Aristotle, all those books. So I was reading and found work to do with USAID. And at USAID, there was this director there who, asked me to do some illustration. I also draw illustration for agriculture in the tropics he was publishing. So I drew them for him and said, but when I talk to you and I look at how you function, it's like you have some creative skill. There's something creative about you. There's art. Because I had actually originally sculpted a limestone bust. And he had decided to take it to Massachusetts, which is there now as I speak. So he said, I come to see you in this house. You don't seem to have anything doing. Why? You want to continue education? What do you do? I said, well, I wanted to go to do medicine, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, I think you have something in you that's creative. Why don't you go to do the arts? And then that is where I fell for the arts. Of course, I could also do well in the arts, so I just decided to. But then, to cut a long story short, 1989, I had gone on tour of Europe with my group, Obra, and we went to Germany, we went to Düsseldorf. And there was this Jugendhaus, I don't know what I'm pronouncing right. It's a youth center. And they had brought those who had finished universities and wanted to, were going to be posted to various third world countries to go and do some volunteer work there. And they needed someone, there were a couple of them who were coming to Ghana. They wanted somebody who knew something about Ghana, the history, the geography. I was also the best geography student in Ghana at that time, so I decided to do it. And that time, the director of the Goethe Institute, who had brought them there, I had met him in Accra when Goethe Institute was at Osu, near Black Caesar.
Yeah.
So when he saw me, he said, I've been seeing you at Goethe Institute. You come there? I said, yes. Oh, I understand you can actually handle the subject, for my students. I said, oh, yes. So I spoke with them. I drew the map of West Africa and Ghana and everything, and the geography of Ghana, the history, the ethnicities, the languages, all the things that you can think of about Ghana. So when I finished, in fact, 2 guys, Carstens and another guy, they followed me to Ghana. About 3 months or so later, they came to Ghana just to come and see whether it was true that I was working where I said I was working. They came to the Art Center. At that time, I was working at the Art Center. And at the Art Center, I was actually handling a weekend afternoon variety entertainment show. 84, 85, 86, And this man would come with, I don't know, he played so many bands. He would come with a band, he would come and perform there. And, when they come and they are not set, they are not ready, he'll be playing the keyboards all alone by himself and be singing. And he could actually hold the audience for about an hour, all by himself. So I was wondering, this man, at that time, I understand he also did some, he went to, what do you call it, Nautical College, eh?
Yeah, that's
I said, and this man, how come that, as a nautical student, he knows how to play the keyboards, he can do all these things. We had a little chat, and then we became friends, so almost every other month, we would invite the group, Alpha Waves,
Yeah.
and then some other groups to come and perform at the Art Center. And that is how we go close. And then later at Bywell.
That's right.
That's right. We also performed that also. So we've known ourselves for quite some time. But on myself, I actually write. A lot of Ghanaians know me as an actor, like Yao said. They know me as an actor, but I actually trained as a playwright at the university. So I write poetry, I write stage plays, I write screenplays, I write novels, I write short stories. And the poetry, I write poetry in English, in Akan, and in Akan, in Fante, and also in Twi. So, as I speak, I have lost count of the numbers, but the last time I counted was about 200 poems that I have written. Wow. All unpublished, but they are there. They are there. About 15 stage plays, about 4 screenplays, a couple of short stories, and all that. And fortunately for me, I also happen to have found myself working, in radio theater, hosting radio programs, working on television, acting on stage, and doing film. So I had worked across all the media, so to speak, to a point where the use of language and understanding of language and its purpose in this field is something that, I don't know, maybe it's second nature to me, because I don't remember the day that will pass that I won't write. I belong to the writing generation, though. Every day I write, whether it's a poem or continuing something I have already started or whatever. So writing is something that comes with me, easily. So when I was invited to be part of this, I said, how were they able to know that I do all these things, and so invited me to be part of this? But I should thank distinguished professors here. Professor Anyudo, who, when I was at Legon, he was then the director of School of Performing Arts. When Maluku left, he was the one who actually took over. And I had come across his works, as a writer, as a poet, and he went to Winneba Post-Secondary School, where my uncle also went. And so that is how I identified him. I started as a trained teacher, and all the way through education to the university, and then as a lecturer, and then as a professor in linguistics, English, blah, blah, blah. He is someone who has been in this field maybe about 60 years, I should think so. Such that you cannot talk about the literary society in Ghana without mentioning Professor Anyudo. So I'm happy to be on a program with him, someone that I have studied, I have, learned under, and I've done so many other things with, to be here, and for him to be sitting in the audience to watch me. Prof, thank you so much, and you're welcome.
Thank you, Uncle David, for that journey through the years. I would now like to hear from you, Desmond Abebio, the starting points for you, and then how you met David. I know he's told the story, but it's always nice to hear from the other perspective.
Oh, it's just said everything all right. In the first place, good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. And I'm highly delighted to be part of this program. David has already said everything. We met in, I think, Black Generation Days to...
Yes, Black Generation.
We were together. We could dance and all that. And I was on the music side and the acting side, yes. And so we became friends around that time, I think the 80s. And we have been friends since.
But he also mentioned that you studied nautical
Yes.
science, and so I really would love to hear the story of how a science student fell into becoming a high life legend.
To be honest with you, I'm going to start from scratch. I didn't start music at my own will. I was forced into music. Now, in school, I was a goalkeeper. I never had continued. I would be keeping the goals for Barca or Real Madrid. I attended a primary school where common entrance is sat in class 6. But I failed woefully, so I went to Buzia's experimental school.
the school had 4 classes, and each class has 3 streams, A, B, and C. But A is called Agri, B, Quist, and then B, Lanka Bruce, and C, Quist. Now, and when we got in there, we were all eager to sit for the common entrance and pass in Form 1. First term was fine. Second term, in the afternoon, so Tuesday afternoon, then our music master came to the class. He's called L.H. Lankan. He was trained in Russia by Nkrumah. He sings baritone. He came to the class and inquired from us, how many of us would like to join the school band? We didn't mind him. He asked the second time. He asked the third time. They said, you guys, if you're in the community, you wouldn't do any community work. Bring me the K. So he gave us 6 lashes. Then he asked the question again, how many of you would like to join the school band? Then we all raised our hands up. Then he asked you, what instruments are you going to play? We were in Form 1. We didn't know the names of the school band instruments. Then you give it 4. But my senior brother was a member of Young Pioneer, and he brings flute to the house, but he calls it 5. So I knew I won't be K. So when he reached my turn, I said, I'll play the 5. Then he gave it to my head. You play 6. Then he said, once you've called 5, I'll give you 5 lashes. Then he gave me 5 lashes. Then he marched all of us to the music classroom. And he said, every Friday, the school marches, the whole school will march on a park for 1 hour. And the school band will change our khaki to white shirt and the khaki knickers. So he took us to the music classroom and he taught us the song. The song is called the Bridge on River Choir. So do till I so far me re do so la so far me re so me fa so me do so me fa me so far re la ti la do so far me re la do ti so ti do. Now this song was very long. And he told us that on Friday we are going to play for the school to march. The seniors will not play the band. And then we started crying. The song was very long. We cried. And then we went and had a meeting. Then we started Rado. We won't come to school on Friday. Then someone was like, why? The Monday your prayers will come and carry your dead bodies if you don't come to school. So we agreed that we will whistle because we can't play the flute. So we whistle. So on Friday, we ironed our dresses, put starch and everything. And then came to the parade grounds, well dressed. We joined the school band. The seniors were taken out, and then we went like. Then we put the flute here, and then we started whistling. This man stopped all of us and took us to a classroom, locked us up. The seniors came and played for the march parade. Then he invited other teachers to join him to kill us properly. Now, to cut a long story short, that is how I joined music.
Well, we thank Mr. Lakai. Is that his name?
Yes, Mr. Lakai. And then 9 years when I got to the Ghana Nautical College, I was the school captain. So every Thursday I had to go to Burma Camp and take films for the school, war films. Then I went there and saw a film, The Bridge on River Kwai. Hey, then I took the film. Apparently the title of the song is called Kenal Boogie. But he named it The Bridge on River Kwai. And I really enjoyed the film. Then Ghana secondary schools had a band those days. And on long backs, we have competition at the Arts Center. At one of the pop chains, Mr. Lagan was one of the judges. Then I saw him bring his, when we were playing, he was bringing his goggles down to look at you well. Then after we played, he came there. Gosh, meaning when we are caning you, you said it's not good, but today look at where music has brought you. Then I asked him, are you coming to beat me here too? So thank you.
Well, I really wish I could have met Mr. Lakai. Maybe
Yes.
I would have been a musician myself. But it's interesting stories we've heard so far. I think that for me, it's one of the significant things I take from both perspectives is the mention of certain institutions and organizations that existed at the time to support young people to be able to, explore or find their creative side. And I think this is very significant to this particular conversation because both of you mentioned that there was no plan to become creatives or a musician or an artist, an actor, but you did find yourself, and we are sitting here today. So I'd really like to hear your thoughts about these institutions and organizations and the government's role at the time to help young people to find their voice in the creative sector. Because, and I'm asking this question, I like to think I'm a creative myself, but in reality, I work more with a lot of creatives, so artists and musicians and writers and the whole cohort. And one of the things that we often hear is the lack of enough organizations to help to not only nurture talents, but to, push talents to its greater limits. But I'm hearing all these institutions and people that existed in your time that were there, and I just wonder your thoughts about what is happening now. But before we get there, I'd like to hear what it was like back in the day. And I say back in the day as if I'm that old, but I mean, when you two were doing your thing, I was probably not born. But I'd like to hear your perspective of these institutions and how exciting and challenging as well it was, as a young person, finding yourself as an actor and as a musician. I would like to start with you, Uncle David.
As an actor, I actually had found myself coming to the Art Center. I'd never been there. Art Center had organized a competition, for us to write something, about Festac 77, and I had just finished this form. So I came to the Art Center, inquired about it, and they gave me the details of it. I wrote my essay, submitted it, and I saw the late Mr. Sakakwe. He was a writer, a musician, an artist, par excellence. He actually was the one who wrote Ugbaje.
The Lost Fisherman.
The Lost Fisherman, and some other plays. And also was a sculptor, was doing all kinds of. There used to be this sculpted piece at the Art Center, right at the entrance, of a man playing the drum. Beautiful, sculpted piece. He donated to the Art Center. But over some years, I think he passed by one day and he saw that, the thing was just deteriorating. No one was actually taking good care of it. So he told the center, it was he who brought it. So he's taking it back. He took it back and went and put it in his house at Mamprobi, somewhere Jimeite, near Jimeite. He had and all his art pieces, artifacts were in that house. I don't know what has happened to those art pieces, but the daughter, Akushika Akwe, is still working at GBC. Maybe I will have to find out from her one of these days where those artifacts have gone to. But he was also the one who actually mentored and made Wolome popular by taking them on a tour of the US 1977 and the other years that followed. So he was someone who was revered. Anytime he happened to appear at the Art Center, people started pointing. So when I saw him, I looked at him, I said, wow, so this is the man, this is Mr. Sakakwe. Wow, it would be good to, be as good as him, as popular as him, as resourceful, an artist like him in future. So that thing kept ringing in my mind. Even though I was then doing remedial to go to medical school because I couldn't get my grades the first time and I was trying to. And it was even worse the second time because I was not having time. I was living with my auntie and the husband who was an American, and I was virtually the houseboy who was cooking, ironing, going to market, doing everything in the house. So learning was virtually, not there, you know. So I just couldn't, make it at that time. But I was living at my auntie's house in Dansoman, and a colleague, we were all in a Upper Secondary School, and because of the art, we won art competition, what closed season, a certain part of the time of the year that we don't hunt, we don't go to farm, to hunt and things like that. And we have to do an art competition on it. So we did it, and the whole Ghana, he was first, Alex Bannerman, if you will know him, Akroma, he also came to NAFTA actually. And then I was second. Then one morning, and that was 1980, I was in the house. And because I was just in the house, not doing anything, I wake up in the morning, go to the roadside, go and buy newspapers, and come and read and read and read and read. Then Alex saw me and said, "Oh, David, do you live here?" They had come to Dansoman. I said, "Yes, this is where I live." So, "Oh, David, we are in big problem." I said, "Oh, what problem?" He said, "Well, I went to NAFTA, so, our colleague is doing his final year project, and the actor who is supposed to play the lead role, ironically, the title of that piece was The Way to Shame. He's not around, we can't locate him, and those days there was no mobile phone for you to be able to find him. But school, I know that you were part of the theater club, in and out, doing poetry and things like that. Can you stand in for this guy? Because it's in English, and I know you can handle it. You don't have a problem with that." I stood there and said, "Okay, let me just go home and change and come." So I went, changed, came back, jumped into the role, did it. And it was so, the student liked it so much that from that point on, almost all the NAFTA had then established just about a year and a half or so. Everybody wanted to use me to play, in their final year projects. So I started doing it. Meanwhile, I had started, going to film acting and stage acting training at Ghana Films under the late George Ando Wilson. And George Ando Wilson had been taken to London School of Drama and Music by Kwame Nkrumah to train there. And he came there, he was the director of the Osagefo Players, Kwame Nkrumah's own theater group that was rehearsing at the Flagstaff House. And I was working with him, and that man, he loved his acting. So much so that when, I joined the group, he kept saying, "I can see that there is something in you that you are hiding. Just come out with it. Just make sure that you let go of yourself. Feel free. Just, release whatever it is that is in you. And I believe you can go far with this thing." So he did a program. At that time, there was this Keegan show on television. And they interviewed him, and he needed to do something, that he would base their conversation on. So he rehearsed Gus the Theatre Cat, a short play written by T.S. Eliot. And I was playing Asparagus. That is the leader of that piece. That is the. And then when we finished, went and hid behind the curtains in the GBC studio. And that was my first time in GBC studios. Then I heard my Keegan saying, the guy who played Asparagus, he seemed to have something, he seemed to be very good. Is he someone you think can continue? He said, "Oh, he's one of my best students, so no problem with that." And that thing just dropped in my head. I said, "Oh, really? Oh, so I can act, and that well." And then I took it up from there. So anytime the NAFTA students came and called me, I'll just run for it. Go and do it, So the students even used to call me, "Hey, Ghana's Marlon Brando." They were so happy using me, And then I joined Ghana Theatre Club from that place at the Art Center. And then I came to join Talents Theatre Company. and we did Black Star, we did Jogolo, and we did Mambo, which was an adaptation of Macbeth written by Professor J.C.D. Graft. And that play is a very interesting play, because it has a very curious, way, around it, such that you need to really be very good to direct that play. And I played Mambo, that is the Macbeth. And Macbeth, or Mambo at that time, was supposed, the Lady Macbeth or the Lady Mambo were three women who were playing it. So the Lady Mambos were three, and each time on stage, your movement is such that the three must form a triangle around you. They must relate to all of them. So anywhere I moved on stage, they also find a way of moving and getting that triangle around me. And I did that play at the Art Center. And I remember at the end of the play, Mrs. Rollins came backstage, gave me a hug. Dr. Joyce I came backstage, gave me a hug, and he said, "Wow, where have you been hiding?" I think Professor Anido himself was also there. He was asking me, "Where did I train?" I said, "Oh, I haven't trained anywhere. I've been working with George Wilson at the Ghana Films." So, wow, you seem to have a very good talent. Don't leave this thing behind. And lo and behold, that year I won the Best Actor Award for my role as Mambo. And that was 1984. And then I started work at the Art Center, because they took me there to host an Ansikrum, because the person who was hosting an Ansikrum had left. And they had shifted an Ansikrum, because they were doing some renovation work there, to Holy Gardens, Circle, Saleh Famamkwa's Holy Gardens. And that time, they changed the name to Sankofa. So I came there, was hosting it. And then when we did it for about 6 months, 1 year or something, we brought it back to the Art Center. That is when I met Desmond with this thing, Black Generation Band. Yes.
Yeah. Uncle David, I want Uncle Desmond to come in because you have again brought us back to him. So I want to hear his perspective as well as a young man pursuing music, the institutions and people that helped him to get to the point where he then meets you again. So let's hear a bit from him.
Good. This same Elish Lankine was the music
Lankine.
master for my school. And not every Tuesday he sings on GBC2 radio. And my senior brother Gilbert Okambebi plays piano for him. I never knew. So I live in South Lavale Estates, but I went on long back holidays with my brother at Mamprobi. And then he asked me, which school am I attending? I said, "Oh, Labadi St. Paul's." They said, "Oh, he has a friend there." I said, "What's the name?" He said, "Elish Lankine." And I said, "That madman." Then he said, "Why?" He said, "He kills people by heart." My sister brother laughed. So I don't know the conversation that took part in between them. When school reopened, I was in the classroom. No, they came. "Where are you? Come here." Meaning, your brother plays keyboard, so you play keyboard. Come to the music classroom. Then he forced me to the music classroom. Then I started the music piano classes, and then by the age of 14, I could play Handel and Bach preludes and all that. That. Now, after I graduated from a nautical college, I dry docks, Tema dry docks. They used to call it Gapoha at the time. I worked there for a while and then sailed for a while. But after I saw I sold all the vessels, we were giving 600 cedis to go to Singapore and take vessels. But I used my money to record a song called "Won Susuhe, Won Susuhe, Won Bomodeng Akeshi Ebahilo, Da Da, Won Susuhe, Won Susuhe Ebahi." There is hope for us while the sun shines, so let us work hard every day. Together we can make it. Together we can make it all right. Now, Rollins tend to like this song so much that they will play it on TV and then they will play the national anthem before he come and give his revolutionary speeches. So I became so popular, and that song, I got a lot of money out of it. It was Trapped Africa. That was my first album. I got a lot of money from it to put up my first house. Then I said, wow, there's money in music. Then I said, wow, there's money in music. Then there was a colleague, seafarer like myself, it's called Luchutukwe. He said, Desmond, look, don't go to sea anymore. Teach and do music. You can make it. I thought about it. Then I tried, and it worked. It worked. That's how I became a musician. It worked. It worked. Yes.
We've spent enough time exploring your experiences in Ghana. A lot of young people like myself, sometimes we like to think that we are the first to ever do it when it comes to the creative scene. Yes, the first to. But when you read a lot about the legends who are still alive and who have passed on, you'd realize that they were equally well-traveled. They were the original first to ever do it for us to be here in the first place. And knowing a bit about both Uncle David and Uncle Desmond, I know that you are all well-traveled, both within Africa and outside of Africa. I would like to hear some stories that you have of your experiences performing outside of Ghana, maybe for the first time, and one of the most significant experiences that would forever stay with you, performing outside of Ghana, and also for you, Uncle Desmond, the same. This time, I will start with you, Uncle Desmond.
Yes. All right. Working in Europe is very interesting. I live in Utrecht and in Holland, and was working in a home called Merbeck in South Soest. I go to entertain the inmates every Sunday. They are aged. And I played with Hukentus, a Holland band. But every summer, they want to go on summer holidays, so the bands get disintegrated and then they travel out. So I'll fall on my Ghanaian colleagues, and then we'll play the summer programs out. After summer, there's no show. But I play one guitar and a harmonica. I play a lot of good countryside, so I work throughout the whole year. Every Sunday I go to the Merbeck home to entertain the inmates there, and I make a lot of money. It was very interesting, and that was it there. But it's not been very easy because we met some of our colleague musicians who weren't working all over there. Some were working and others were not working. And we used to help them a little. We tell them to come back home and start all afresh again. That was it. Yes.
I'm going to push a little more. I know you also traveled to Nigeria to perform some time ago, and I think it's good to hear your experience in Nigeria, because high life music, when it comes to the Ghanaian and Nigerian musicians, there were a lot of them who perform together, play together, musicians coming in and out of each country, and we still do have a very significant relationship. So tell us a bit about your time in Nigeria.
Good. The Rumblers band took me to Nigeria. In fact, the Rumblers band keyboard player was a pilot of Ghana Airways, Hansen Adi Hansen Adi. And each time when he's going on a flight, he would invite me to come and deputize for him. And so we went on tour. We went to Kenya. By then, Jomo Kenyatta was president. We opened a trade fair there. We went to Kent in London. Then we came back to Nigeria. We slept in the Vitolaya Hotel. He's a trumpeter. But he studied music in Ghana. He's a very good trumpeter. And he changed most of Ghanaian high life tunes into Nigerian language. High life, they play, I will say. And we played at the first tag with Osibisa and a lot of Ghanaians. You were there?
No, I couldn't go.
I
couldn't go to first.
Oh, okay. So that was the chance I had. And we went to watch Fela too. We went to the Calcutta Republic to watch Fela performed, and then other Nigerian artists. We watched them performed, and the other countries also came to show what they have at the Festac. Yes.
Thank you. And my mom tells me a lot of stories about Festac, and so it's nice to hear more. Uncle David, for you, what are your experiences traveling or getting the opportunity to tour the world as a young actor? How do you reflect on that?
I had started in Kukrantumi, the road to Accra, and I became so popular because it was the first African, movie to show on free-to-air television, NDR TV in Germany. They had dubbed German on it, and so they were, so Ghanaians, the Ghanaians that were in Germany, had watched it. A lot of them, they saw it, and some would see me and even give me that cassette, Pierre Monco cassette, and it was German. They had dubbed German on it. And I didn't understand German and all of that. But because of that, I became so popular. But I had, where else to go. I was just acting in Ghana. And then there was this World Youth Festival in Moscow, 1985. They had even started rehearsal for some time, and we had also started rehearsing the trial of Kwame Nkrumah. And I was playing Kwame Nkrumah at the Art Center. And the production they were taking to the World Youth Festival was called The African Experience. And there was somebody who was supposed to play Kwame Nkrumah, and the person was not, agreeable to the role. So Akunu Dake came to the Art Center, saw me and said, but you are here and we are fighting to find someone to come and play Kwame Nkrumah. Please, find time to come and join us so that you can play the Kwame Nkrumah role. We'll take you to Russia. I said, oh, really? I don't have a passport. I said, no. Don't worry, we'll get you a traveling certificate. Really? So they got me a traveling certificate. And that was just about a week. They got me a traveling certificate, and I traveled with them to Moscow to the World Youth Festival. And we performed at some of those workers' theaters, we were at Hotel Sevastopol. I remember very well. That day that we were supposed to perform were Ghana, Uganda, and another country who was supposed to perform. And the Ghanaian contingent, they said, hey, we have to really make sure that we put up a very solid show, otherwise, we'll find ourselves knocked out by the Ugandans and other. So I said, oh, if it is about what we are supposed to do on the stage, I don't have a problem, because I know what to do. I get on stage, and I know my lines, my movements, everything. Then we got on stage, and there was this guy who was supposed to play the flute for Ceci Gajepo, may he rest in peace, who was being sculpted by someone into an art piece on stage with the flute as a background music. And the guy who was playing the flute, I don't know what happened to his flute. He was playing the flute, and all of a sudden, the noise, the flute was not sounding.
The notes weren't coming.
Yes, it was not sounding, and we were not just ready to come on stage, because they had some time to perform before we were on stage. So they came and whispered back, say, "Hey, please stand by. The next 5 minutes, you're on stage. You're going on stage because those people have locked. They are not getting to do what is expected of them." So, and as usual, we were backstage. People had put their props somewhere. Some had not even put on their costume and things. So people were rather helter-skelter trying to get themselves together to stand by to come on stage. I went to stand in the corner, and I was just facing the wall. And then I was there when Akunudaka came and tapped me on the shoulder and said, David, you okay? I said, yes, very okay. Stand by. We'll be going very soon. And then, before, the time will come for us something happened, and then the flute started playing again. So they said, hang on a while. He's playing, because what they had rehearsed was also something so good, so beautiful. They wanted to put it up by all means. So we just had to just wait backstage for it. And then, apparently, the Ugandan team, they were supposed to start their show with the drumming from the main auditorium through the central aisle onto the stage. They also didn't know that there has been this shift, so before they could finish the art piece there on stage, this guy was coming with his drum and drumming loud, boom, 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 everything. So there was total chaos. Everybody was confused. Oh, so who is performing and what is going on stage? But they managed to hold him somewhere in the middle of the aisle somewhere, pulled away somewhere, and then, they told us to just get on stage. And then African Experience, took, off on stage. When we finished, Dr. Abdallah, he was the one who actually led the thing, continued that one, said, indeed, it was an African experience. Because time was missing. Everybody was just, forgetting their movements, they're forgetting their entries and all those things. And came to our hotel, Hotel Sevastopol. And he said, you know what, you are all going to have a very good meal. And for the first time, you're going to taste whale tongue. And we're wondering, whale tongue, the tongue of a whale, and it was, raw, it was uncooked. So you slice it and then you put it in vodka. And I remember D.S. Boating, may he rest in peace, he was one of the ministers who went with us. That time they were secretaries. He said, David, I understand you live at the shore. Your mother was a fishmonger. Maybe you can eat this. Take it. And I had to just try to eat it because that was the only food available for us to eat. It was with their bulka, the bread, that hard bread. And some, hot tea and things like that. We finished eating and then we went to our hotel room. And then when we left and went to our hotel room, we realized that the sun was on. That was summer, July to August there. And the sun was setting around 10:30 thereabout. So Kwesi went to his room, came back and said, David, I think there's something wrong with my watch. I don't know. Because the sun is still on and it's getting to 11. Said, oh, really? Let's find out. We went to another person's room. Said, oh, the same thing. I've also been checking my watch. So Akunudaka came and said, hey, you people. You live just by the equator, so it's 6 hours, 12 hours. But here, it's not like that. It's summer. The sun sets after 10. And that is why at this time the sun is still on. So go and sleep. So tomorrow morning, you are waking up, you are going to another place to perform. And it was such a very interesting tour that we had, going touring. And that day they were mounting the statue of Yuri Gagarin, the first man in space, the Russian, So they took us there to go and have a look at it. And then they took us to cross the Moscow-Varewa. The attendant, the one who was taking us around, that's how he was pronouncing it. You are crossing the Moscow-Varewa. It's on the left, it's on the right. We watched, we did all those things, and then, we now went to, and we had just learned pieces and pieces of Russian, spasiba, harasho, and all those things. So you could be somebody that we are not even having any, once the person agrees, oh, harasho, spasiba, We were just happy, showcasing our skills in saying bits and pieces of Russian language. And it was such a very interesting trip that we had, that for the contingent that went, when we came back to Ghana, a lot of us, and that was when I had also been admitted to go and do drama and theatre studies at the University of Ghana in Lagos. So I came and then I saw the letter that had been taken, at Lagos to go and do drama and theatre studies. I said, oh, at long last, it has happened. Now I'm going to read the Socrates and the Euripides and Aristophanes and all those things at that place. Indeed, my dream will come true.
Uncle
now
David,
that I've stopped.
What year was this?
This was 85.
Okay.
1985.
I'm asking about the year because one of the things I really want to ask before we wrap up, because time is a bit spent, is we've so far heard a lot of experiences that you've had, and it all sounds interesting and lovely and exciting. And many times as young people, as people living in contemporary times, we like to look at the past as if it was all glitter and glamour and exciting. But you mentioned years like 75. This was when Ignatius Kutu was president, and then he would be taken down by a coup. He came in by a coup. Uncle Desmond mentions 85. That's when we had just come out of our hunger, the years of 82, the Ghana Must Go issue. And so at the backdrop of all these exciting things happening, there were a lot of political and economical crises that we were going through as a country. And then you mentioned getting admission into, University of Ghana in 85. And by 85, many young people had left the country to seek greener pastures elsewhere. And so it brings me back to my question of, how was it like surviving as a young person, trying to make meaning of life, having all these experiences and living life with all these political and economical crises happening? Were there times that you questioned yourself about, I too must go, or will there be a war break out in Ghana? When will my last meal bill be? What was it like, engaging with all these things while pursuing your careers? I'll start with you, Uncle David, and I'll move to Uncle Desmond.
At that time, it was very interesting. Fortunately for my father, worked with Kwame Nkrumah. And just about a month and a week before he was overthrown, I met him, shook his hand. And then, later I heard there's a coup that had removed him. And because my father, I don't know, because he worked with him, I don't know whatever he learned from him, but he was able to sort of conscientize me to a point where I was ready to stay here and do whatever it took to succeed. So I remember those times, I was living in Dansoman. I would walk from Dansoman to come to a literary night at Great Hall at Legon and walk back. Yes. And I was not even seeing it. I took delight in doing it. And I was doing Obra, and I would walk from Dansoman, come to GBC, rehearse, record, and then walk back to Dansoman. I would walk from Dansoman to Art Center to come and do rehearsals, whatever, and walk back. And I was very comfortable. I would buy the apalanchi, that is the roasted cassava, and then copra. I would be eating, and I have the mouth organ. That is the what do you call it? The boiled corn, or roasted corn. And I would be chewing it and then just talking to myself and just having fun. And I would just clear the distance in no time. And I was walking all these, distances without even realizing, because I was enjoying myself. I told myself, whatever I have chosen to do, I must succeed. I must be able to do it, and do it to the best of my ability. So people were wondering, this guy, where are you finding your energy to do all this? I remember, at the Art Center, I was hosting an answer room. I was performing with the talents. I was rehearsing with O'Brien, recording at GBC. I was stringing for Kalajima Manaman on Solid Black at GBC too. in a day I would do 2, 3, 4, things, performances, shows, and things like that. And I was doing it with ease, and I was enjoying it. So a lot of people just were wondering, this guy, where does he find the energy to do those things? But, I did all those things for a very long time.
Let me
Very,
bring
very
Uncle
long time.
Desmond into this. I would really like to hear, the same question about, all the political and economical crisis that was going on, and being a young man, pursuing something in music. What was it like?
Good. I was at the Nautical College in 1980, and suddenly some messages came from town that we should go on holiday weekend because they are queuing for kinky now. There's a Rollins chain thing, and people are queuing for kinky, and there's no food in town and all that. So we shouldn't go on weekends. So we stayed in school. Now, on vacations, I come to play Blackbeats band. And we realized that the curfew at that time was from 6 to 6 the following day.
Yeah.
And band was played normally from 8 o'clock to 6 a.m. Hello? Hello? Hello, can I use the mic?
Yes.
Entertainment in the evening starts from 8 p.m. till TDB, till you drop. But when the curfew came in, nightlife stopped. So most of the musicians left to Europe.
Yeah.
But we, with the Black Beats Band, we traveled to the Volta region. And the curfew was in the regional capitals. The soldiers were there. But in the Volta region, the small towns, nothing goes on there. So we could play the night, then close at 6 a.m. and all that. And then we went to Cape Coast too. The villages were playing there. There was no curfew there. We could play there. And that was the sort of thing going on at the time. The revolution created a lot of problem for musicians in Ghana. So most of the musicians, George Dacon, Kojo Antwi, Lumba, they all left to Europe. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I want to ask a follow-up question to you, Uncle Desmond.
Yeah.
You played with a lot of these legends, and then you came up with your own band. But High Life is significant to Ghanaian music, not only because of how it has impacted the music in the country, but because of its uniqueness of being enjoyed while live. So it's played live. And I'm really curious to hear, how did you adapt to the coups and then the change to, cassettes? How did you adapt as a musician, having to now have the curfew of not being able to perform, and then also having to adapt to recording your music? What was it like being used to playing live and then having to adapt to, the times? Yes.
Right. In fact, playing with Itimisa, Kim Bruce, and Gerard. In fact, I was very young. I think I started when I was 16 years. In fact, they kept advising me because Itimisa was a pharmacist at the time and was playing his band. Kim Bruce was a principal secretary, was playing his band. General Singh works with Kingsway and was playing his band. So each of these members kept telling me that, look, continue your education and come and help your other musicians. Have you got that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I continued that way. And I realized that when I record an I Live album, within a year, I make a lot of money. So either I'm putting up a house or I'm buying a new car. So I made my plan that every 3 or 5 years, I'll come up with an album to buy a new car or to build a house. Yes, that was what I was doing. And I was very quiet at the time. Nobody knows my idea. But that was what I was doing. Yes, I record very good albums and at Ghana Films, and then within 6 months or 1 year, they will buy the cassettes at Cantamaton, and then they buy them fast. Then after 6 or 8 months, it drops. The sales drops. So within the 6 or 8 months, I've made much money. Yes, then I enjoy myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to end this conversation soon. I know we are having a great time, but we have 2 more events, and so I'll just ask 2 more questions, and then we can go to the next round. Uncle David, knowing your very big portfolio when it comes to creative arts, film, theater, poetry, the likes, how have you managed to stay relevant with the times? It may be a funny question, but then you have really lived amongst generations, and there are young people still coming up who will hear your name and still see you on TV. What does it take to be able to be this resilient and to still be able to be known when the name comes up, people know your name, and you still are called by all these film producers and makers to be on the top of their list for films?
It's basically hard work, and you have to be versatile and be resourceful enough to be prepared to learn. I had an acting school, and I used to tell my acting students, an actor is a student of life and a student for life. You never stop learning. You have to always keep learning new things. And I guess that's what has sustained me, because I write, I direct, I act, I produce, I even design and things like that, So I had made myself relevant to a point where if I don't do A, I will be doing B, or I'll be doing C. You will call me to come and do this, and you realize that I can do another something. And next time you call me to come and do that, you realize that I can do another something, and like that. So I've made myself relevant for all these years, doing very many different kinds of things. Theater, over 96 or so professionals work in the theater. Film is even more. And as much as possible, I try to make myself relevant by getting to know and do a whole lot of other things. Apart from acting and writing and directing, I also design. I actually do what we call set designing. I also design not only costume, but also set. And I draw, I paint, I sculpt, I carve. So I make myself relevant virtually almost everything, everywhere I go. And if even I will not do it myself, I can consult. I will be available to consult, to help you get to know and understand, what you know, and what you need to do, and what you can actually add to make whatever you're doing. Because I have one thing with me, I am too inquisitive for my own good. Almost everything that I see that has to do with creativity, I will just look at it and look at it and look at it, and then make sure that the next time I touch it, I'll be doing it myself as well. And it is not easy to do that, because people find themselves in certain areas of the creative, arts, and it ends there. If he's an actor, he stays there as an actor. If he's a director, he stays there as a director. If it's that, he stays there as whatever. But I actually cut across. And that versatility, that resourcefulness is what has taken me across and has been doing, because I've been doing all these things. I also host programs on radio, on stage, on television. I remember when Panafest was going to start, we had to do what we call mock Panafest at Cape Coast. And I had a theater group. We had a play written by Kofi Akpabli, The Prince and the Slave. I had directed it, and we're going to perform there. So when I got there, I was there with talents, acting with talents. When I got there, then my director had talents, Kofi Potofi, saw me and said, why, you're coming to act? I said, no. I directed the the production that is coming up, with Kozi Kozi, my group. I formed a theater group called Kozi Kozi. Really? You direct? I said, yes. But I've been watching you. I've been watching a lot of people, and I've been reading, and I've been learning a lot of things about directing. So I direct, actually. I do a lot of directing on stage. Really? I said, yes. So he sat through the production, watched the production, and said, oh, David, I'm not disappointed at all, because one day I'll go and stand somewhere to say that you're one of the people I trained. Because you've really surprised me. A lot of people that I've worked with have not had that, zeal to find things to do by themselves without being taught. But you have learned to even direct without being taught. When I went to Legon, when I was taken at Legon, I wanted to actually do acting and directing combined. And they said, no, you can't do that. Okay, I said, okay, then I want to do acting. He said, oh, acting ended this year. You're no longer taking acting. And that's how come I shifted to go and do playwriting. Because the Bible is there. In the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So I will learn script writing. And from there, I know I can do a lot of things from there. And I keep experimenting. I keep experimenting. And I never say no if it has to do with creativity. If it is something that I know I will be able to do, I will tell you, yes, why not? Let's try it and see how it works out. And so that is how I've been living my life all these years to make myself relevant.
Thank you. Uncle Desmond, what about you? How have you been able to stay relevant with the times? And also, you have played with so many big names, and also then created the name for yourself. So how have you been able to, be resilient with the times?
I actually mingle with a lot of people, and always have chats with them. And I first of all try to explain to them that music is a game. Music is a game we play with rules. If you don't know the rules of playing football, you cannot enjoy it. If you don't know the rules of playing polo, first choka, second choka, you can't enjoy it. If you don't know the rules of playing awari or ludo, you can't enjoy it. So is music. And I always converse with them musically. I tell them every song starts from a point, goes around and comes back to the same point. For instance, do 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 re mi re do, mi re fa mi re, do 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 re mi fa mi re do, ti do re do. It started from do and ended back at do. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. This has been an amazing conversation. I'd just like to point out that we have two more engaging events for you. The first is the dramatized reading, Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad, that has been adapted to Nearly All the Men in Accra Are Mad. And then at the same time, we have a talk by Professor Toyin Falola from the University of Texas at Houston, and he will be talking on festivals, the past of the present. Very quickly, Uncle David, what's your favorite high life song?
Sikeye Moja by Pat Thomas.
Uncle Desmond, what's your favorite Ghanaian film?
Favorite Ghanaian film? The Road to Bukuran 2.
Wow. Everyone here, I hope you have enjoyed this conversation. We have to cut this short. I really wish we could go on and on, but there's so much more to enjoy. So please, the dramatized reading will be happening here on stage. And if you are interested, you should be in Professor Toyin Falola's talk, Festivals, the Past of the Present. That will be happening in the room, Berlin. If you just take the entrance to your right, just go straight. The door that you see will lead you to that talk. My name is Elizabeth Johnson, Festival Manager and also Programs Coordinator for Goethe Institute, and enjoy the rest of the evening and the festival.
Can I leave, with a proverb? If you find yourself as a green in a vegetative entity, if you don't identify yourself as a herb, you'll be classified as a weed and be weeded out. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Okay. All right, so, let me just mention that after the events are done, we have a little reception, and so I think that will be enough to keep you still here. Enjoy the rest of the program for tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Welcome. It's a pleasure.
Let me. That's it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.